What patterns of behavior are supporting your goals and creating habits that serve you? Maybe a walk after dinner every evening with your husband, or maybe it's reading your Bible to learn more about your faith. Maybe it's getting to the office 10 minutes early each day, just so you can prepare mentally for your day, or something as simple as drinking 6 glasses of water every day. What patterns of behavior do you know support you? Now, can you identify some patterns in your life that are keeping you stuck? Maybe some thoughts that keep replaying in your mind and keep you from taking action. Or maybe you grab a donut on the way to work each day. Or you have emotional reactions that feel safe, but really they're just keeping you stuck or stagnant. Today, we are talking about patterns, how they support you or hurt you, and the easiest way to change a pattern that isn't doing what you want it to. Have you ever felt held back by self-doubt, whether it's speaking up in a meeting or connecting with others or simply just believing in your own worth? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to the Crazy Confidence Coach podcast. I'm Heather Edwards, Master Certified Life Coach, and my goal is to empower you to step into your most authentic, confident self. Here, you're going to discover practical strategies and powerful insights to help you improve your communication, deepen those relationships, and elevate your self-esteem. And each week, I'm going to guide you through some actionable tips and mindset shifts that are specifically designed to help you break free from fear, show up boldly in every area of your life, and build crazy confidence. Are you ready to stop hiding in the shadows, playing small, and avoiding the spotlight? Grab your favorite pen and a notebook, and let's get to it. One pattern of behavior that I noticed about a year ago about myself is that I was scrolling on my phone after I got into bed. Now, sometimes I was managing myself well. I did some research or maybe did some random lookup about something, and then I would set my phone aside on airplane mode and go to sleep. Not a big deal. But what I was finding is that more often that I would keep scrolling or watching videos or doing additional research or creating reasons to look up something, and hours would pass and I wouldn't get to sleep till 2 or 3 in the morning. So this started happening more and more. And this little simple indulgence started kind of interfering with my life a little bit. It would move my whole day next day, or same day, actually, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 6 or 7, it would make my day horrible because I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't treat my dog the same way. I wasn't sweet and loving with her. I couldn't be as nice to my husband in the afternoon when he got home because I didn't feel like cooking dinner or engaging, all those things. And I didn't have a clear and focused mind throughout the day because I was tired. I was exhausted. And this started happening more and more. And then one day I thought, why is this behavior happening and how big of a problem it has become? Of course, I just stopped doing the behavior and everything was fine. Well, no, that is not what happened. This isn't what happened at all. I did notice the behavior and I tried to stop, but I kept thinking of reasonable, and I'm doing air quotes, you can't see me, reasons to pick up my phone and look something up, and the cycle would start all over again. It didn't happen every single time, but it was happening way too much. And it wasn't until I changed or replaced my behavior with a new behavior that I started to have success changing this pattern. I had to break the pattern. I had to work on my thoughts. I had to face my excuses head on. And then I had to create and commit to a new way of doing things. Now, I plug my phone into a charger in the other room because, yes, I don't trust myself. I just leave the phone in the other room, and I have created a new pattern for myself when I go to bed that does not include my phone in my hand or next to me when I am going to go to sleep. Honestly, there are really a lot of benefits to me having this pattern change, and I kind of wish I had started this a long time ago. It came out of me recognizing a pattern in myself that wasn't serving me, that wasn't doing any good for me or my family, honestly, and it was a pretty big deal. So, what kind of pattern do you have that you might be doing kind of unconsciously and you're not aware of it, or maybe you just haven't really thought about it? I imagine that you have patterns that are really getting in your way, and maybe you want to change them, and maybe it would be a benefit to your life. Life really is just simply a collection of patterns and repeated behaviors. Your thoughts are repeated, your reactions to those thoughts that you have are repeated, and they either move you closer to your goals or they just quietly pull you further away. And each day, consciously or not, you reinforce those patterns. Some empower you, others just secretly sabotage your best intentions. We tend to believe that change takes us radical, big, audacious action. But what if I told you the real transformation just starts with awareness? Simple, small awareness. Life is always in motion, and every pattern either moves you forward or it's going to move you backward. There's rarely a time in life that we're truly just standing still. Let's start with identifying supportive patterns. The patterns that move you toward progress, peace, and fulfillment. Maybe it's your morning routine. Maybe every morning you get up, you meditate, and you have water. Maybe it's the way that you talk to yourself. You give yourself great affirmations that are affirming and build your confidence and your self-esteem. Maybe it's the way you handle stressful situations. You calmly address things. You think before you act. You are truly good at handling stressful situations. Supportive patterns can be subtle, but they're powerful, and they reinforce belief in yourself, and they create emotional safety and growth. I want you to ask yourself, what do I do on my best day that makes me feel unstoppable? Then, when I'm aligned with my goals, what habits naturally show up? And which behaviors make me proud of who I am becoming? Those patterns are gold. Protect them, expand them, repeat them until they are second nature. Those are the things that are supporting you to where you want to go and who you want to be. But let's now talk about the patterns that are keeping you stuck. These are repeated thoughts, habits, and emotional reactions that feel safe maybe, but they're just keeping you stagnant and stuck. You might notice them as maybe hesitation, self-doubt, procrastination, or even, for my people pleasers out there, you are simply just overcommitting. You're saying yes too much. If you're honest with yourself, you probably already know which ones are in your way, what patterns are holding you back to a place that you don't want to be. They may have been protective at one time, and maybe now they're just running outdated codes that keep running in your life, and they're just blocking your next level of growth. Here's a quick truth. Every pattern has a purpose. It either meets an emotional need or it's avoiding an emotional discomfort. So when you uncover why a behavior exists and you actually face it, choose a new one that serves you more effectively, then you've actually done some real work. Here's where it gets tricky though. If you're not able to identify your patterns, then you likely need help with that. I'm an expert at helping people figure out what patterns are keeping them stuck, and I help them create new patterns that support the version of themselves that they want to support. So if that's you, you can't identify your patterns, or maybe some of them, or maybe you know something's keeping you stuck and you can't figure it out, sign up for a coaching call. Let's get to it and let's figure it out. Don't let 2026 be the same as every other year when you're feeling stuck and frustrated, repeating the same cycles or the same thoughts. Get a fresh perspective on you and get real about who you want to be. Create patterns that are supportive and help you build that version of you that you know that you can be, but you just can't quite get there. So, okay, I can help you with that if you can't figure it out. But here's what you need to do. First and foremost, if you want to create new patterns and make them last, you have to be aware of what they are. This means that you must notice when your behavior patterns are making you feel confident versus when they are keeping you safe, quote unquote, or making you shrink. Number 2, you're going to have to replace, not just eliminate old patterns. So when you identify an old pattern, you've become aware of it and you want to change it, you need to replace that behavior, that pattern with something new. And what you're simply going to do is substitute a self-sabotage with self-support. For example, If you're thinking something, I can't handle this, you're going to replace it with, I'm learning how to handle this. That's something that would be a thought behavior. But if you have a behavior that you know that you drink 5 cups of coffee every morning and you don't want to drink 5 cups of coffee every morning, you make a behavior change by maybe you replace that with 2 glasses of water and 1 cup of coffee. You have an exchange there. So make sure that you're doing a replacement, not just eliminating. Number 3, you want to have a reward. Reinforce your positive patterns by celebrating your progress. You will stick with that change and be more apt to do it over and over if it feels rewarding. So rewards can be simple. They can be a pat on the back. They can be recognition that the change is there, meaning you can sit and meditate on, ooh, what is this doing for me? It's made a great change in my life. It's made it easier. It's more peaceful, or maybe simply just more functional. Or it can literally be a reward of some sort, buying a new book, visiting a new coffee shop you've wanted to visit, or purchasing something that you really want and you make yourself wait until it's become an reward for a change, or just taking an hour off to do nothing for yourself. Whatever. Create a reward and use that as a way to help your change become real for you. Then the next thing you want to do is make sure that as you are repeating, repetition of something is going to help your nervous system learn. Our nervous system needs consistency, and the more consistent you are, the faster those new patterns will become automatic. Once you do decide to make a change, if you make those repetitions happen quickly, in other words, you don't say, let's just go back to the coffee example where you've had 5 cups of coffee every day and you want to move that to 3 glasses of water and 1 cup of coffee every day. So if you do that and you do that 10 days in a row, you're so likely to keep with that. Unless you say, oh, I'll do it 1 day and then the next 3 days you're doing 5 cups of coffee, or 2 days and the next 2 days you're doing 5 cups of coffee and you skip the 3 days of water and a coffee. So in other words, you want to do 10, 15 days of that doing it right. And then if you want to take a day off, fine. But you've had that repetition to make that pattern in your nervous system work. The last thing, or not the last thing, but one thing you also want to do is make sure that you're reflecting every single week, every single day, depending on what it is. Did my behavior pattern this week move me closer to who I want to be? So when you reflect on who you want to be intentionally, it allows for faster and more focused growth. You can stop fighting yourself as much. You find alignment and clarity, especially in ways that you've never thought of before, mainly because you're simply in tune with, you're thinking about, you're reflecting on what's working and what isn't working, and making intentional choices to go back there. Then the last thing I want to say is that repeat the entire process over and over with all your patterns that you're willing to challenge, because each pattern that you're willing to challenge is a pattern that will help you intentionally become more of you. If you've never taken time to explore who you want to be or who you want to become, this is the first step. You are listening to this right now, which is great, but if you're thinking, I don't really want to become someone intentionally, then let me just say this. If you don't become a version of you intentionally, you will become a version of you unintentionally. And that unintentionality about who you become is someone that you may or may not know in the end. So you can create a new you or allow yourself to be molded by your unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and actions that control you each day, or you can intentionally deal with your dirt that we've talked about before, your doubts, insecurities, resistance, and triggers, and address them on purpose, address the behaviors and the patterns that you've created, and this helps you become your best version of you on purpose. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a blast. I would love for you to do me a huge favor and either go leave a rating or a review. And if you really love the podcast or you've learned anything at all, please pass it on to a friend or a family member that might enjoy the podcast as well. That's how I grow, and that's how I'm able to continue bringing you content. If you are interested in coaching, just go to thecrazyconfidencecoach.com. You can sign up for a free discovery call there. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you next Tuesday so we can build our crazy confidence together. Love you big.